Bonjour,
Bonjour, bonjour.
Space Lizard.
How you
Well,
doing, man?
yeah, I'm good. I'm good, and I hope you are.
Yeah, I'm all good,
How's
man.
life on the space station?
It's all right. I've got another lizard taking over for me for the moment. So I said, you know what? I'm overworked. I want some time.
Yeah,
So I want to explore the world. I want to
what
explore the world.
what the planet Earth?
Yeah, I want to explore a bit better. I was thinking of going to Mexico, have a bit of a holiday, go Caribbean, check that out. Check out all the hot places. Do you know what I
Oh,
mean?
so all the plans to destroy it when you first arrived a few years ago, they're all gone now. You're getting to.
Oh, them plans went out the window a long time ago, man. We changed it up as soon as we like started getting hold of some of your media and stuff. We thought, oh, actually, we need to protect this. So we thought,
But yeah,
but
what protect it as an insane kind of prism for how
yeah,
bad life can be.
yeah, exactly. And so since then, we've had a mission to defend it. But the way some of the media is going now, mate, I don't think is.
No,
I
which is
thought-
which is a lovely segue into the end of the week news brief on the
Yeah, I'm
hogNEWS.
intrigued.
Um, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to do a weekly wrap up now of some of the insanity that's kicking around.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
You
lot
know,
of
some good, some bad, mostly bad. Um,
it.
and I think one of the things that set me off. So in my usual channel, this is going to be on all my normal videos. I really do try to even find the positive in stuff.
Yeah.
If I can't, so which basically means when I'm reviewing Dismal Minus, I take the Mickey.
Do you?
I do. I don't know if you, but you can't escape the the absolute retardation of some of these people.
No, you can't, and
Creative
it's getting more and more as well, which is just
entertainment,
scary.
and I'm going to kick it off with the first with an interview this week with a guy called Pete Doctor. Yeah, nothing to do with Doctor Who. This is a guy from Pixar, the chief operating officer, doing an
Yeah,
interview. And you know, backwards and forwards. Obviously, Pixar have been quite prolific in the past few years. Well, they've been prolific in the past decade or two, but they used to be good.
yes, they did.
They used to be good. Now, under Dismal's tutelage, they just suck. They
There's nothing
suck
coming out.
vacuum.
I can't even remember the last
Vacuum
good
space.
Pixar film. I can't even remember the last good Pixar film.
Probably it was the last Toy Story. That was number 4, was it? And
Yeah, they've done a lot then.
that was just about on it. And then other than that, they seem to have just fallen off a cliff into believing that we'll create stuff that you must like.
Mm.
Not creating anything for an audience, but this is what you must like. And they keep making excuses. And the latest excuse, and I will quote from this Mr. Pete Doctor about Lightyear, which I didn't see it, but no one else did. There was nothing, I don't know about you, but whatever marketing they do, whether it's on the side of a bus, or
Yeah,
a bus stop, or on the radio, or on the TV, or in an interview, or in a magazine, or on social media, which is probably where, you know, most people get it from nowadays.
yeah.
Nothing stuck. There was nothing interesting about this story. The initial pitch must have been it was the story behind the act. It was the actor that the toy come from.
Yeah, so
I think that's quite intriguing, don't you?
no, I don't. So with so when it comes to Toy Story,
But you are an alien, so
yeah, but when
you're
it comes
probably on
to
the
Toy
wrong side.
Story, you've got so you're doing an in world. So in your world of Toy Story, this is the film that Buzz Lightyear was based off of.
Inspired one of the toys.
So you would have arguably Tim Allen's voice as Buzz Lightyear, but
That would have been a go-to, wouldn't it?
that would have been a go-to 100%. But when you've got the key and the clue to it is in the title.
Yeah.
It is Toy Story. It's a Toy Story universe. I don't want to see a film about what one of the characters that I know and love was based off of. I want to see that character I know and love in its own film.
Well,
They could have easily done a Buzz Lightyear adventure.
yeah. Well, I thought that is what this film was going to be. I thought the real life character was going to be exactly like the toy, if you know what I mean. That's what.
Yes.
When I first heard the idea, I thought, oh yes, but they're going to set it in real life, and the fun is going to come from an astronaut or spaceman that thinks he's that awesome in real life. In its Alan voice in it, and it's
because
in the real world. Say like The Incredibles is set in the real world, and I thought they're going to give like that's going to be the real character, the real person's name.
Do you know how I think this came about?
The joke, the sketch, is that the toy is exactly the same as what the human being was like, but they didn't do that.
I personally think how this came about was someone at Pixar had an idea for doing an animated Pixar movie about an astronaut, which was the rough story that they did. And they thought, oh, hang on, mold that story around Buzz Lightyear. We can do a Lightyear one. Let's use the IP.
Yeah, do you know what, Liz? I honestly don't know where these ideas come from anymore. But you could be right. Just some silly pitch. But it lost. I think it lost about $200 million, didn't it? No one wanted to see this movie. Not kids, not adults, not adults taking kids. So it gets to a point where adults are saying to their kids, "No, I'm not taking you to see it."
Yeah, pretty much.
Shit. The only thing I've seen about this film is, oh, there's a lesbian kiss that's groundbreaking. So what? Do I want to take my child to see that? Do I want to take my 3-year-old? I don't know. These are decisions, but Pixar now believe they're in this kind of weird.
It's trying to throw messaging in there to kids, which a kid just wants to be entertained.
Yeah, it's no good. I think kids want the storytelling and they want a good character. And this Peter Doctor said, we asked too much of the audience. That's a direct quote. When he was asked why he thought this film didn't do so well, on the back of a load of other films from Pixar, none of them are earning money. Not one of them.
What the so the arrogance of that man.
We asked to what from an animated. Really, you asked too much of the audience. No, well, you did. You asked the audience to suck ass.
So by saying that
story.
So by saying that, you're showing he's showing his own arrogance. Because by saying that, you're saying actually our film was amazing, but it was too beyond the audience to understand it.
Yeah.
That is that. So again, you are then, and it's the common thing that people are doing now is attacking your audience. As soon as you attack your audience, you've lost more.
Yeah.
That is your customer. Without that audience, without those fans of Toy Story over the years, young and older, you would not have anything to base your IP off to try and milk that IP. So without your fans, then you've got nothing. And that's who you're making it to. That's your customer. By saying we asked too much, you're basically insinuating that your audience is too dumb to get your film, which is just an insult. No, your film was shit. Deal with it, own up to it, and move on, and actually right your wrongs.
And at least behind the scenes, like you would have some form of, or even put your hand up and say, "Wow, we got this one wrong. We thought we sounded good on paper."
Yeah,
but they
hold your hand up.
Do that. It's like they get a brand new frying pan and smash themselves in the face with it, and then they go, "That didn't hurt." Then they make another film and that don't do very well, and they smash themselves in the face with it and they go, "No, that's all right. That's you, not me."
That's shocking. Didn't a lot of the old guard leave Pixar? I heard a lot of the old guard left. So you've got these new people coming in that haven't got the experience and they don't get what it is. Toy Story, that came out when I was a kid. Toy Story came out when I was a kid, and grew up, and I even went to see Toy Story 4 because it's like, oh, okay, cool. but it
I did.
delivered.
I had to see it end, didn't you? We had to
Yeah,
see the end of the era.
and it delivered on that level where again it's aimed for everyone. It's just a bit of fun. You've got good characters with good morals and etc. etc. But you've got something you can get your teeth into, and it captured the magic of the previous one.
Yeah.
They've lost their way. There's no magic anymore with what they're doing, and it's probably because again it's content, content, content. Let's get any old Tom, Dick, and Harry in to write this stuff, and then if it goes wrong, we'll just blame the audience.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is
I
horrendous.
think the marketing of it should be a lesbian kiss, and it's groundbreaking. I don't know. I don't get it. I know they didn't base all their marketing on that, but no one, they can't trundle anyone out and say it's almost like why wouldn't you just get Tim Allen to voice the character of it?
Yeah,
And that you could sell the film on that.
yeah.
I would have put more bums on set. Just
But
me,
then,
just me
but
business
then,
on. Forget how crap the film is. Get Tim Allen to voice it, and I bet you would have doubled the revenue. You still would have lost money.
yeah,
You would have earned a bit more along the way because people would have gone, "Oh yes, oh Buzz, here he is."
yeah, 100%. And you'd need to have Buzz like the toy. So
Yes.
so again, the voice and the personality and everything would have to be like the toy.
And that's what I thought they was going to do. I thought they was going to have the human character, like you think of the Incredibles and Mr. Incredible, how he is in his human form. Before he puts the outfit on, and they've got this exaggerated kind of Superman body with these tiny legs, this exaggerated, right up there, like, and the tiny head. Right. I thought they, along those lines, you could have made the real, like, Buzz Lightyear like that in human form.
Yeah.
And play with it.
Massively.
The fact that he's such an exaggerate, he's such an over the top human being. If anything, now me and you are sat around the creators table, it could be that the toy was the calmed down version of the real thing. Like he was proper to infinity and beyond in real life.
Yeah.
And the toy, that would have been fun, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, that kicks off the madness of the week. More arrogance, more delusion. And from there, the other news. So, Warner Brothers. Let's go over to the other side.
Okay.
Brothers. So we've spoke about this in the Hogcast and stuff. And Aquaman 2 and Shazam 2. Well, one's in test screenings and one's in the territory of advanced ticket sales. And both are bad. Ooh. According to Cosmic Book News, and they're reporting the Aquaman 2 screenings people are walking out of.
That's interesting, actually.
A lot of people are objecting to Amber Heard's presence in it.
But then people should be objecting to Ezra Miller's presence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, as a non-American, I'm not getting the whole Amber Heard. I know what she did, and I know that Depp's vindicated himself, but I'm really not. I don't know. There's always two sides to a story, and there's no smoke without fire. I think they were both as bad as each other, but in the first film, I think she looked all right, and she weren't unappealing.
So I said before that obviously the Flash I've gone into massively, and I went on the last podcast. I went into the Flash, and I said about how in a way I'd kind of want the Flash and Aquaman to be big successes, so that way it makes DC Studios actually think, oh shit. Shazam, I didn't really like the first one, and I'm not excited in one iota of the second one. But Aquaman,
like at all.
No, but Aquaman 2, the first Aquaman was quite good. I actually enjoyed that. And Momoa does bring that presence to it, and he sort of reinvented the Aquaman character.
I agree.
But Aquaman 1 was the highest grossing DC movie. So what's gone wrong with Aquaman 2? Now I know they originally had I know they originally had Keaton's Batman in it. I don't know if that's still staying.
Oh, right, I didn't know that.
but then
They saved him for Flash.
no, so they had Keaton's Batman in it, but they've either got rid of it or reduced that right down, and they've stuck with Affleck's Batman. So they've put Affleck's Batman into it. So I think they might have refilmed the scenes that Keaton did, but did it with Affleck.
God, but that's still a mess, isn't it?
Yeah, massive mess. And
That's
then
still a mess.
and then on top of that, obviously you've got the controversy, whether you agree with it or not, you've got the controversy around Amber Heard. Now I think you've got to take a stance. If you're keeping Ezra Miller on, you can't really say I'm not going to keep Amber Heard on. They're both as bad as each other with some of their off-screen stuff.
And the bullies and the idiots and the weirdos.
Yeah.
Just keep them in your films.
Yeah, keep them in your film.
Well in America. And especially in China, the biggest market, I'm sure that'll go down well there.
Oh, go down great. But I don't understand, apart from trying to reduce Amber Heard's role in it, which again, to be fair, there is that element, and I've said it before, and I don't know which side of the fence which side of the fence I sit on with it. There's a level where you've got to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah. No, I do. I get that.
But what is the cut-off level where you think, no, that person doesn't deserve to be paid to be in a film?
But there's a difference between your political beliefs, I think, and I'm fully agreeing with what you're saying, and I think I've said this before in many of my videos by saying that, come on, I don't care what an actor has for breakfast. Sometimes, and it's down to social media. I don't care what my favourite actor is eating for breakfast. If I don't agree with their porridge and fruit because I have cornflakes, it doesn't mean I don't like them anymore. But we seem to be in a world where they're on social media so much. Look what colour pants I'm wearing. I'll look at my socks, look at my shoes, look at my hat. It's like I really don't want to, I don't care. Like, deliver on screen and then go and live your life. But
I think that sort of stuff is excuses, because just the Amber Heard stuff alone, because you could easily come out and go, look, guys, what do you as fans want? We're way away from getting this production aired now. We know what's going on with Amber Heard.
Yeah.
Do you want her in this film or not? Because we filmed it, and at the moment it's a good film. But if we have to try and edit it to cut her out of it, then we can't guarantee it's going to be the same level of success, because we have to change storylines, this and that, etc., etc. And it won't be the end product that we originally envisaged. Instead, we're going back and scrapbooking. Yeah. And it's the same with the Michael Keaton thing.
They seem to prefer doing that.
Yeah. So if you want us to do that, we will do it. But you tell us what you want. Now, I know there was a petition on Amber Heard going.
They're never going to ask for the fans' approval.
Now I know there was that petition.
They didn't release until they was really pressured into it.
Yeah, and I know there was that petition to get Amber Heard out of it. But are you telling me that them fans walking out that test screening was all because of Amber Heard and some re-editing? By the sounds of it, they've messed up again, and it was messed up, from the writing phase.
I think the mess of it is they can't deliver a standalone movie that satisfies someone who hasn't seen the first film. So it stands on its own, but you think, oh, you might not understand something they're talking about at one point, maybe. You know, this is like the old sequels of old, where if you hadn't seen the first one, you turned up for the second or third one, you thought, oh, I must have missed that in the other films.
Yeah.
But you still had the decent film to sit there and watch with your popcorn. But it sounds like Aquaman, and it isn't delivering on that, even on that level. And with Shazam 2, I can't help feeling that is just, it's too Marvel-esque with its quips and its whimsy.
Like, DC's not that.
Trailer, when he's talking to, who's the big bad in it? I
don't even know now. I don't even know.
Anyway, and he's talking to her, and he's just making a joke of the fact that she's the most evil thing in the world, and that's what he's there to do. But he's making a joke about it.
No, and that's not right.
I've had enough. Do you know what? I'm just tired of it.
But there is that element of, now the weirdest thing is, I know it's in terms of release dates and stuff, but you've got 3 yet unreleased DC films that are in the can: Flash, Aquaman, Shazam. We've had the Flash trailer, And it's almost like, and the feeling I'm sort of getting from this is, as I said before, if these two films do well, and if Shazam did well, which I don't think it would, that puts DC and their new era into a state of question, because you're thinking, oh shit, have we done the right thing here? Now, they need the Flash movie to do well, because the Flash movie is what they're going to use to reset it, like the Flashpoint comic book.
Yeah, to read, yeah.
Yeah, like the Flashpoint comic book did,
Yeah.
and set off the new 52. They need this Flash movie to do well to be able to set up the James Gunn's phase. So it seems like a lot of focus and attention is on that, but they kind of don't want Aquaman or Shazam to do well, because that would put their new plan going into the future at jeopardy if they do well. So it's almost like, I do feel like DC, the Warner Bros, like Zaslav and all that lot, they want Flash to do well, but they don't want Aquaman to do well. Aquaman, they got a good get out of jail free card, because I would blame Amber Heard. And then Shazam, it's a shitter anyway. Let's get that out there.
Well, just bite the bullet in a way, and just,
yeah, I can't help but feel
there's the end of the stick and just put these films out and get them over and done with before.
Yeah, I can't help but feel there is a slight intent behind this and releasing this news about the test screenings, etc. I feel like there's a slight intent behind it. You want Flash to do well, but you don't want these two to do well, but you've got to release them even though you don't want to.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
And again, with Aquaman, you've got that,
Liz.
Yeah, and again with Aquaman, you've got that get out of jail free card with Amber Heard, because you just blame her.
Yeah.
Which is she's just the actress that turns up to play the character that you've written. She's not a creative. So if the film's a shitter, you can't just say, oh, it's because of Amber Heard.
Right.
The backlash from that.
And that's a nice link to my next bit of news.
Okay.
From this week, which is over on the other side of the camp, the road again, in the Marvel camp. The Marvel's being delayed. Good old Brie Larson. So if ever Marvel they've got a Brie, they've got an Amber, and it's been delayed again for the third time. So that means this film is going to be released a year later than they first intended. Now,
wasn't it that, so originally, when was it supposed to be out? Was it supposed to be out
November 2022?
I thought it was supposed to be out before then.
It may. Do you know what? You might be right, but that was then put back to July this year, and it was just announced about a week. I think it was in the same week as the latest quarter's earnings release for Digital Minus as a corporation. And what they're doing, I think, this is my theory, they're axing jobs. Yeah, they've lost money. This isn't us. This isn't me and my opinion. This is just facts. They lost subscribers. They lost in the past year, in their last financial year. They lost subscribers. They lost a hell of a lot of money. They lost a lot of money with their releases as a corporation. So they announced job cuts, 7,000, I think, 7,000 job cuts. As a company, as a limited company with shareholders and dividends and to pay out and all the rest of it, they have got to make announcements to calm down the shareholders. Otherwise, because if everyone just decides to dump the stock, this is where it all gets businessy, I know, but bear with me. So, and they've said this, and older Iger has said the same thing that Zaslav said, is that we aren't just going to throw billions of dollars at loads of content.
Yeah, that kind of ties in with a couple of things that I've read as well, to be fair.
Yeah, but because they haven't got it. So you look at what you've got in the can. This is a bit like, and this is for both sides of the road, actually. This is for Warner Brothers and it's for Marvel, Disney, whatever you want to call them. They've got certain things in the can. They've got to develop new stuff. They know that. And they've both got their streaming platforms, HBO Max, Dismal. Right, okay. But we've told everyone that we ain't going to spend loads of dough So what do? You spread it out
Yeah.
because you've got to steady the ship. And I'm just talking purely business stocks and the markets wise. Just steady the ship. Don't lose too many more subscribers.
Yeah.
Just keep it like that. Don't, you know, theatrical releases have still got Ryan Doe, but, you know, so they've got the Marvels in the can. And I think this is going to be a dog.
Yeah.
Look at, well, I know you've got some news on Ant-Man.
Yeah, I've got, yeah. So there's
So
a
this has
few
been pushed
bits.
back here. I mean, that's all. That's the only news really that I've got to say about that. That's
But
all
but
I
but
have to say
why
about
but
that.
why do you
So
think they've pushed back
combined
the
with,
Marvels?
I think they've just delayed it because they're stretching out the content they've already paid for.
Not anything to do with the fact that the Marvels is probably going to be a shitter and they're trying to
Oh
redo
yeah,
it,
it will be. And
reshoots and stuff
kick
like
the can down the road.
that. Mm.
Kick the can down the road, but also stretch out your cinematic releases because if you release them all when they first announced them, and you've told the markets that you're cutting the amount of money you're spending, you haven't got the dough to make the films in enough time.
Mm.
You've got to stop. You've got to be filming now for
Yeah.
the releases next year. And I don't know what they've got in the can and what, but they're stretching it. They stretched Indy 5 because of the reshoots, obviously. And that's obviously the dismal, that's another side of it, the Lucasfilm side of it. But I think all they're doing now is they're stretching it out to give themselves breathing space.
Talking of
Their
reshoots,
money, their wassits. So yeah, you've got news. So that's
yeah. So
the quote on the
just
poster,
quickly,
just the new poster, just quickly before you go on to the related subject.
yeah.
The poster says higher, further, faster, together, with Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and Ms. Marvel. What that poster should say is who cares?
Well, no,
The comics don't sell. Monica Rambeau, people are going to say who, and
in line with their in line with their business plan, that poster should say slower, more careful, and budgeted.
yeah. Oh, God knows, or just say please,
Uh,
or
and
half
just
price
quickly,
sale.
so this sort of segues in, but I'm not getting to my point just yet. But this segues in the word reshoot. Now I know films have always done it.
Yes.
But it seems to be that unless it's the fact that there's more media outlets and social media and there's more content out there, so we're hearing more about reshoots because there's more to reshoot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or is the word reshoot being thrown around a lot more? Because I feel like it is.
Maybe.
And don't get me wrong, with any sort of film, you would film it, get it in the can, go through your editing and think, oh, that might not work. Actually, we missed a trick there by not putting that one scene in there. So you get them back for
You know
like
what
10
they used to be called?
pickups. Yeah, pickups. Yeah.
But
So
now it isn't being called a pickup. They are
no.
going into weeks. They're
So,
going into weeks of reshoots.
so as a business, when the director and the producers and all that come to you and you go, yeah, we got to do some reshoots.
Yeah.
My first thing would be, well, hang on a minute. You've just spent God knows how many hundreds of millions on it. How have you not got it right? Now, I know there might be a shot you might need or something like that, but I think it comes down to one core element, which is because they're getting any Tom, Dick, and Harry in to do the writing, your writing's not as good. You then put it together with what you've got,
Yeah.
and then you go, here we go. And then you go, oh, bollocks, we've missed out all this section here.
There's a massive hole there, the size of Uranus.
As a business, like what Bob
Nothing
Iger
personal,
said,
I meant the planet.
as a business, if you're trying to make things less expensive and you're trying to get better quality stuff to get a better return, just go back to the core root problem of what everything is. And it always starts with that round table and the story and the pitch.
Yeah.
Put all your efforts there, then everything else falls in place. You don't have to go and do all these expensive reshoots. So instantly you're saving millions and millions of pounds because you just invested that little bit more time and quality control in the beginning. Yeah.
It's like old Takawaka Hadada on For Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
And what, there was 6 hours, he reckons. There was 6 hours of footage because all he was doing was farting around with the actors, making them do stupid things. Now, I find that from a business perspective and a filmmaking perspective, just wasting money perspective, right?
Yeah.
I find that incredibly stupid.
Yeah, 100%.
Who signed off? Did Feige sign off on someone to fart around for months on end?
Yep.
Plus the post-production as well, with all the CGI that was needed. And that's fine because you would plan the necessary months and months. But, and I know I go back to my old hero, Clint Eastwood, but when he was on a roll, I'm not talking about maybe the modern era, you know, go back 20 years, 25 years. His filmmaking approach, he was doing one film a year and they were all hits, right? They was all hits, they all earned money.
Yep.
His approach was they filmed it, they was editing as they filmed it because they was only filming the scenes they needed. There was nothing wasted.
But how can you say
Now
from 6 hours worth of footage,
yeah, no, that's
I'm going to get a 2-hour movie? You haven't got a story.
Extremes.
Yeah, you haven't got a story.
No, and I know that an editor, a decent editor, would get down into it and say, no, this might be unnecessary. And that's when it would come, like you just said, that's when it would come to the director going back to the producers or the execs and saying, with their cap in hand, but this would also be planned. There would be a bit in the budget for pickups.
Yeah.
Right, we missed this scene, or this scene was mucked up, or this scene wasn't captured well on the second camera, or the second unit, the wind, there was a dust storm that day and we couldn't get that scene. So I do believe there is an element of pickups in any big production, in anything. Even in small productions, you need to do a day, maybe two of bits and pieces.
Yeah, we've done that.
But but I think that is different from reshoots.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
oh my God, that test screen hasn't gone down well. Let's all get back down the studio. You know, the ending with the Indy 5. I know that's the first time I've started discussing scrapbooking. That's the first time in my life I've ever heard of that. And the fact that they've test screened different endings. And all of this just points to all the creators table. And I know me and you, that's our favourite, and I think that is it's a good analogy. It's got to be discussed there.
Yeah.
Thrashed out there. Mistakes are going to happen. Things are going to go wrong. But with these, and it's both sides, they're both guilty of it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I think Zaslav is just ahead a little bit in his approach where he's saying, deliver.
So,
like, guys, deliver.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like the proof's in the pudding, right? So Ant-Man, the bit of news, I've got 2 bits of news and they're both related, but Ant-Man to start off with. So this was supposed to be the kickoff to phase 5. This was the most important film of the multiverse saga, right? Which is what
the t-shirt and everything ready for it.
But this is supposed to be the film that kicks it all off, ready to go. This is almost like your first Avengers movie. But the way it's gone down, and I'm just going to go into some figures, right? So it's nearly 70% down. It's actually 69.7% down, weekend on weekend.
Second weekend.
Yeah, from the second weekend, right? So that is the worst decline.
Yeah.
For an MCU title, weekend on weekend, right? The only other one that comes close to that, now bearing in mind they're all declining quite a bit, the only other one that come close to that, which was 67.8% down weekend on weekend, was Black Widow. So Ant-Man is 2% more drop off than Black Widow. Now, Black Widow was released in the pandemic and it was simultaneously streamed on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a drop off.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I must admit that they did shoot themselves in the foot with that.
massively. So this is your big film that's supposed to set up Phase 5.
Yeah.
And it does worse. On Rotten Tomatoes, the only MCU film with a worse score is The Eternals. And we all know how that went down, right?
What about Bore, Love and Blunder?
That's actually above this somehow. I don't know how. That's actually above this. But regardless, this is your big film to set up your big main villain, your next Thanos level threat, and the next saga of the MCU. We've had the Infinity Saga. This is now the Multiverse Saga. This
You
is
did
the
have
most
Chris Hemsworth arse though, didn't you? In Blunder.
Probably, yeah, probably.
He
It's
had
probably
his
that.
butt cheeks clenched.
Yeah, probably that, mate. To be fair, but this is supposed to be your big marquee event to kick everything off. This is almost like your Avengers Assemble. I know it's not everyone in it, but it's the big Battle of New York that kicks off. You've got that air of a threat in Thanos lingering in the background. It's your first Earth invasion from aliens, etc.
Yeah.
And this is sort of the Multiverses Saga's version of that. It's the first film that we know there's going to be further consequences down the line. There's going to be more Kangs. It's starting to set everything up down the line. It airs straight away massive problems. One, the film hasn't done well. Two, it's getting absolutely criticized. What that means for Phase 5 and 6 moving forward, leading up to Avengers, Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars, bloody hell, mate, no one cares.
No.
And it's the biggest marker. We've been moaning about the MCU throughout all of Phase 4. And this, out of all of them, is the biggest marker for what's going to be happening moving forward. And it's the first film that kind of has any relevance, because you could literally go from, and I was thinking about this earlier, you could go from Endgame and not watch anything else, because anytime it's mentioned the multiverse, okay, Spider-Man, but that's out of the equation. That's sort of Sony anyway, but it's still part of the MCU. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. There's a multiverse introduced, but you don't really need that information of a multiverse to be able to understand what's going on in here. Everything else that's come before is kind of irrelevant in Phase 4. Phase 4 is just the irrelevant phase. This one is supposed to be the one that's relevant, and it's done worse. That tells me the MCU is dying massively.
And I also think part of it, and you're right, I'm agreeing with you, but I also think as well is that with multiverses and infinity,
Stakes are gone.
Yeah, and quantum realms, when anyone can do anything at any time, no one cares. There are no consequences, and I've got to say,
it's like, for example, they're now tripping themselves up, because with Thor: Love and Thunder, just using Thor: Love and Thunder as an example, right? You've got Eternity, where you can get granted a wish. You've got the fact that Thor can give his powers to anyone else. You're instantly tripping yourself up. Where anyone can do anything now, it's not just being applied when it's multiverse, it's being applied to what needs to happen to make your shit story happen. You're now tripping yourself up with what's come before. If Thor could give his powers to anyone, and if you could go to Eternity and Thor knew about Eternity, and you can make that wish to make something happen, why didn't he do that in Infinity War or Endgame? You're tripping yourself up moving further forward. They're literally running themselves in circles and tripping themselves up on all aspects of writing. And it's not, like I say, the multiverse, yes, it does allow you to bring anyone back that you want, do whatever you want. You can throw in any
side in that realm. And DC Comics, all that with their all their different infinite Earths, they're both the same. And all it does is promote weak writing, weak storytelling, weak everything. If you've got one alternate reality where, like when Flash in the TV show, his mum died and he's thinking I can get back there, and you know how that you think, oh, that's a possibility, he might get back. But when you introduce another 616, it's oh, come on.
Yeah, exactly. And there's literally no stakes
Well,
anymore.
like Loki with Marvel, Loki. Oh, different
Oh,
strands. Here we go.
yeah,
Ooh.
100%. But this one is the biggest one so far that sort of indicates how much trouble the MCU is in.
Well, and so
It's in
what
a
you're saying is that the audience has dropped off 70%, like just under 70% first week
yeah,
within
yeah.
1 week. No,
And and and
no one's
and
saying I'll go and see that.
well, put it this way, I'm going to go and see Ant-Man this week at some point. Now, beforehand, and I did it with Taters quite a bit, we'd go to see the midnight show on the day it was released.
Yeah.
I'd go and see it. The midnight show on the day it was released.
I'll go and do it with Luke. Like,
Yeah, Avengers Endgame, I was there at the midnight showing.
yes, I remember.
Same with Infinity War, same with all this
Yeah,
stuff.
we was the same. We was the same. We were all there.
Wakanda Forever, still haven't seen it. Thor Love and Thunder, I waited for it to be released. And I can't actually remember, no, actually, I do remember the last MCU film I saw at the cinema that I was like, I've got to go and see that at the cinema was Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes. Yeah.
Everything else, I've waited for it to come out on Disney Plus.
But what I would say is this is the real thing for me. What I would say is with Ant-Man is I've got to say it was not as offensive as the Eternals. As for Bore, Love and Blunder,
Yeah.
as Wakanda Forever, it wasn't and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Those 4 films, none of those 4 films, or I know it's Sony, but Morbius. Oh, and Venom 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Shocking.
There are 6 films there, Liz, that I couldn't get through. And I mean that. Couldn't get through. And sometimes you're not in the mood for a film, if you're watching it at home and you think, and you get a bit tired, or you've got to do something, or someone interrupts you, or whatever's going on. You know, the dog jumps in your lap and you've got to take him for a walk, whatever it is, and it interrupts a film. But you get back to it. Right, those 6 movies
you couldn't get through.
I couldn't get through. But what I'll say about Ant-Man is for 2 hours, I was all right. And I know I said that in my review, but I've got to reiterate that, because although it isn't the shitter, I mean, it's poor, but it wasn't as bad as those other 6. I mean, that's a lot of films, isn't it, really? 6.
Yeah, 100%. But the weirdest thing is, you should be one of their main audiences as a fan of the comics. And you can't even get through them.
Of course I should be, but that's the only kind of little tiny redeeming factor with Ant-Man that I wish they could have built upon. But at the end of the day, it's dumb. It's just dumb. They can't help themselves. They cannot help themselves making a film dumb. And audiences don't want to be called dumb. They don't mind going to see a stupid film, but they just don't want to come out of a movie with a feeling that they've been spoken down to.
Yeah, 100%.
When you go and see a horror film, then you go and see a horror film that's silly, that whole genre is still going, because everyone that makes the latest hit, whether it's Megan or what's the other latest horror film?
Menu.
Yeah. Anyway, but these kind of low budget, it's a classic. It's a classic of the independent filmmaking fraternity. Is to offer up, but they never turn around and say how stupid the audience is. Like I said at the beginning, like, the audience didn't get it. That's what you're talking about. Buzz Lightyear.
But the key thing to it is you have to understand your audience. To mock something and take the piss out of something.
No, you have to understand them, but
you have to understand
respect them.
Yeah, you have to understand it and respect the genre. So people that make like the low budget crap B movie horror films, they have in a way they're clever because they understand the genre, they understand the tropes, they understand certain character arcs and stuff that you typically see in these horror movies, and they spin it on their head and do a stupid version of it. But in order to do that stupid version of it, you have to understand all that in the first place. and respect that audience in the first place. If you're going to be doing something with anything, you have to understand your audience, and whether that's a targeted demographic or whether it's everyone, like MCU was, and like Pixar was, and like pretty much all of Dismal's products. They all were. It had Disney over the title, but everything was augmented towards everyone.
Yeah.
So they've completely lost their way. Like Bob Iger, my other bit of
ethos
news
was to entertain an audience, not
yeah,
what you need to deliver, not what
Mm.
you tell people to enjoy.
no,
You must
100%.
like this. You should be intelligent enough to like the little animated film I've just done about the real life story behind a toy. No, give us a decent film with laughs in it.
Yeah,
Just
100%.
fun for
Yeah,
adults and kids. But
it's like Iger. So Iger's come out and said a few things, and he said that Disney need to get better at curating franchises such as Star Wars and Marvel, basically because they're getting expensive to make. It's probably because of all the bloody reshoots they're doing. That's why they're expensive. They're making it twice.
yeah,
Disney aims to reduce budgets of Marvel and Star Wars Disney Plus shows. Well, I'm not being funny. Reducing budgets doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily going to help you. What I would say is do less of them. So when you do them, they're more of a standout show. Pay more money to your writers to get better writers in. But if you're just reducing budgets, what that tells me straight away is you're not going to reduce your content. All you're going to do is pay less. So that means you're getting less qualified people in to do your job, and you're going to get more shoddy CGI. Is all that tells me.
yeah.
And then, yeah, it says slowing, and it also says, he said about slowing the rate of the MCU shows down. So what I would say to them is don't reduce your budgets on your shows, just do less shows. So that one bit where it says slowing the rate of MCU shows down, great, slow it down. But when we do get an MCU show, the CGI is great, the writing's great, and it's a standout show. And he basically described as a global arms race for subscribers. And he admitted that subscriptions was the leading measurement. We've also spoken about measurements before. Subscription figures are the leading measurement for success. So, and he states that he believes Disney were a bit too aggressive in that. So let's just get everything out, instead of just seeing what works and what doesn't. And that's the only bit of sense that he's sort of made. Now, we've also often spoken about the measure of success. Do you measure success based off your subscriptions? Because the only way you measure the success of subscription,
Proven that.
because the only way you can measure success of subscriptions and subscribers is who's signed up to Disney to watch your latest show.
Yeah.
Because if it's something MCU related, if you're not interested in the MCU, or you haven't seen, imagine you haven't seen anything MCU related, then you see an advert for, what was the latest MCU show on Disney?
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. You see an advert for She-Hulk and think, oh, I'm going to sign up to Disney Plus to watch that. You're not going to do it.
Half an hour later, after watching the first episode, you think I'm cancelling that subscription.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm at the end of my 3 months trial.
So who would be signing up? Whatever the next, say, Secret Invasion, who would be signing up? If you're not an MCU fan, who would be signing up to Disney Plus just to watch Secret Invasion?
Yeah, no one.
Your subscribers would have joined at the beginning when Disney Plus first launched.
Yeah.
Because they want the MCU products. They're not going to sign up for individual shows.
And that's where I think that's where Zaslav's approach, not that I've studied it in detail, but where he's saying we need the tentpole movies earning money in the theatres, in the cinemas. That is the classic way of looking at it. But I agree with it. Maybe it's because we're the same generation, same age group. Maybe because we love the same stuff. I don't know what it is. But if I was around the the shareholders table with Zaslav, I'd be saying, mate, spot on. Because when Dismal first bought Marvel and we'd had all these great films come along, and I remember you, me, Taters, and my son looking at that first slate of the TV stuff.
Yeah.
But that was in
What was it you said? What was it you said when they first released the stuff?
Don't punish me.
No, what two was you most looking forward to?
WandaVision,
WandaVision and
Bad Batch.
so sort of okay with Bad Batch, done better than me. My two was Falcon and Winter Soldier and Kenobi.
I don't think I know. I think we was equally as damaged because all four of those shows were crap.
But then Bad Batch has come back.
But what? Yeah, yes. And
So,
but what I'm getting at is with Zaslav and his approach, what he's saying is get people excited and put bums on seats in the cinemas and earn dough. Because these films are costing tens of millions, right? But what that profit allows you to do from your latest Batman movie, and I know that they're doing the Penguin film with one of my favourite actors in the world, Colin Farrell, but nevertheless, then you can do a spin-off Penguin show.
But also the other aspect of it is to get the
that makes sense because that show is going to go on your subscriber platform.
Yeah.
So the subscriber has seen the film.
Yeah.
Well, this is a very old-fashioned approach, but I do believe in it. So the subscriber, your potential subscriber, has seen that film.
Yep.
And has loved it. Then he hears about, or she hears about, oh, the Penguin spin-off is on HBO Max on the streaming platform. You know what? What else have they got?
The other.
What else have they got on that streaming platform? Oh, they're going to put the film on there as well, so I can watch the film again because it was good and I went to watch it.
Yep.
I want to watch the spin-off. I'm going to subscribe. But what's happening now is the film is crap. The spin-off is crap. And they're tripping up on themselves now because people are unsubscribing. And now you've got to work twice as hard to get them back. And Ant-Man isn't working twice as hard.
No, and also
Aquaman and Shazam 2.
On that note, you've also got the old tried and tested, the old formula, the things that got people bums on seats in cinemas. So if I don't watch it in the cinema, I'm not going to be able to see it again for another 6 months.
That's it. Yeah.
So with a lot of the Disney stuff, it's all dropped about a month or two later. So you can wait. You think, oh yeah, I'll just watch it in the comfort of my own home. I don't have to have that annoying twat in the background with their popcorn rustling.
Yeah.
And people have become a bit more introverted these days. They just want to watch everything. They want everything available to them on the streaming service.
The COVID effect. You know.
Yeah, but by doing that, what you're doing is taking the buzz away from the cinema release. Yeah. So, for example, James Cameron's Avatar 2, that's obviously done really well. It had a bit of hype behind it. Whether you like the film or not, or you think it was as good as the first one or not, whatever, that hasn't been dropped on any streaming service yet.
No.
And it won't be for a while.
Good.
Which, again, if they say, for example, if that suddenly dropped on Disney in, say, for example, 2-3 months' time, you'll probably see a hit in subscribers because people have seen Avatar 2 at the cinema, have waited 6 or 7 months, think, oh, yeah, I want to watch that again.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about making people wait to build up that anticipation instead of just dropping it straight away.
And would common sense not tell you that you'd release it like just before Christmas, around Christmas this year?
Yeah.
Release a nice special edition at the end of this year. So it's in cinemas, a nice special edition on Blu-ray, DVD.
Yeah.
Box set with pictures and postcards and all the rest of it, whatever you want to do. Because in and of itself, that again is a gift for someone who loved the film first time round.
Yeah.
And it's a Christmas present, and it's also something that if you watch the film, you haven't got to buy the special edition. You buy the box standard for $7.99 or whatever it is, the physical copy, and then halfway through the year following, here it is on our platform for all the other people that couldn't afford to go and see it in the pictures, couldn't afford to buy it as a gift, or weren't interested. But now it's on our streaming platform.
Mm.
You may be interested, and it's part of our package.
Mm.
I don't know. It seems.
I mean, at one point there was a 60-day turnaround at one point from when it was released at the cinema to when the cinema run ended to when it was released on Disney Plus. Put it this way, Ant-Man. So I was looking again. I'm planning on seeing it this week.
Yeah.
Showings of Ant-Man at the cinema have already dropped off.
Right.
Because there's one IMAX 3D showing of it in a day. Only one.
Wow.
Now, remember when the other
3D, to be fair.
But if that's your thing, and
Are you
I
going to
remember,
see it in 3D?
no, I'm going to see it normal.
I was going to say it's going to, even for your big lizard eyes, that's oh, your brain.
But
it'd be like.
Well, I need to decide whether to go to an early morning show or a late night show. And obviously, because
I'm going to need your sunglasses, by the way. I've watched you, haven't I?
But obviously, the way I look, I need to make sure it's quiet in there. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah. Just slither in quietly.
Yeah, slither in quietly at the background, and then just sit in the back somewhere. But the fact that it's only got one IMAX 3D showing, you go back 2-3 years, obviously pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, and I think that's now just an excuse. When it came to the later phases of films of Phase 3, you were having 6 or 7 IMAX 3D showings a day. And it was going on, and it wouldn't drop off to one IMAX 3D showing until about 2 months in or a month in. Do you know what I mean? Like 4 or 5 weeks later. The fact that it's dropped off already, nothing that's got no lasting power or second viewing power. There's certain films you can go back to and go, yeah, I love that. I want to watch that again.
Actually,
now,
the point is, that is a very, very good point. There was no repeat viewing factor at all.
No, there's not.
Going back and watching it, like that film was so good. Should we go back to a cheap screening on a Wednesday afternoon and go and see that? Like, whenever the cheap tickets are, buy 2, get 1 free on a Tuesday, or whatever it is, whatever offer going. Oh, that was so good. I'm going to go and see that again. You watch it once.
Before it goes out of cinema, because I won't be able to see it.
I think you enjoy. What's that?
Before it goes out of the cinema, so we won't be able to enjoy it again.
That's it.
For ages.
In that format.
Yeah, and we won't be able to see it again for ages because it'll take ages it'll be a good 6 months before it gets released anywhere.
Yeah, these movies, I mean, Ant-Man, it might warrant a review in a few years when I've forgotten it. Because, like I say, I mean, I know I keep banging on about it. Maybe I've been too harsh in my reviews. I've come across as too harsh on it. But, like I say, it's not the worst one. Is it the tentpole? Is it the foundation for Phase 5? No, not really. It's not the foundation for anything. It's just a little film that should be in between stuff, really. Yeah. Which the original Ant-Man was. There was no pressure on that.
It was the palate cleanser. Like
it was, it was
like when you had Infinity War being released. The next film was Ant-Man and Wasp. It was that little palate cleanser.
They were just decent little bit of fun off on the side. Even the first Guardians, and I know those characters have got a bigger part to play. Well, even everyone's got a bigger part to play now. No one can't have a bigger part. But they were you could relax between the seriousness of the Avengers, what was going on. But now, now everything's quiptastic and fart happy. So
oh dear.
That's all the news. That's all the news. Or did you have other news? I thought you had one more bit of news. Or was that just Ant-Man?
You had one more bit of news.
Well, we're going to round it off. Let's round it off on a good bit of news. Lord of the Rings movies are coming back. Oh, no.
Okay.
But is that good news? I'll leave it on a question mark. So, a company called Embracer Corporation owned the film rights, not the TV right. Amazon have got it gets complicated with all the shenanigans behind the scenes, doesn't it? But as simplistic as I'm understanding it, the film rights, this Embracer group have got the rights to Lord of the Rings movies, and they do the games. Embracer apparently own gaming rights and stuff like that. That's their main thing.
Mm.
Oh, they bought the rights to the films to do Lord of the Rings, and they have formed a new partnership with Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema.
Okay.
Remember, New Line were the ones that took the risk back in the day.
Yeah.
Original trilogy. And I think I'm going to stake my claim to this being good news. After all, we've gone through all the crap this week.
You bastard, you've thrown that on me.
News. This is the week's crap news. And
I'm not quite sure what to make of that.
Right.
I'm not quite sure what to make.
This is what's making me be optimistic about this, right?
Okay.
Is the fact that, and it's just based on these couple of quotes, which is basically Peter Jackson has been kept in a loop. He said, Warner, a statement from Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, says, Warner Brothers and Embracer have kept us in the loop every step of the way. We look forward to speaking with them further to hear their vision for the franchise moving forward. So that's good news. And the other bit of good news, and I think this is a dig, coming from Embracer, I think this is a dig at Amazon, to be fair, because what they have said, but this is good for me, this is good. He says, this is from Lee Guinchard, he's the CEO at Embracer, we understand how cherished these works are, and working together with our partners at New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers Pictures, we plan to honour the past, look to the future, and adhere to the strongest level of quality and production values.
Well, that's a good statement. That's a very good statement.
So those two quotes, in all the crap we've just spoken about.
But what do you do with it?
I must admit, I've got a little glimmer of hope now. I don't know what their ideas are. Let's wait and see. There's speculation there about, are they going to do an Aragorn solo movie and all that? But that's all going to be fan, which I'm sure on a hogcast or two, we are going to discuss at length, right? But just for now, that bit of news, I love.
I'm 50-50.
Oh, yeah. What, not even 51? Not even 51?
No. No, don't get me wrong. The statement itself of what they've said they want to do is okay, cool. That sounds good. That sounds promising. But we've heard those statements before, so I'm being a bit cynical now. We've heard those statements.
I think it's the Rings of Power.
100% Rings of Power, but bearing in mind,
Hobbit factor. Don't forget the Hobbit trilogy, because we all seem to skip that.
Yeah,
we all seem to skip, don't we? How crap that was. It was crap.
It was. It wasn't great at all.
How was crap. So now, actually, now I'm thinking about it. No,
leave it as those three films that were epic.
I think it's bad news as well. Again, now I'm with you. I was really happy about that news.
But the question is, though, what do you do with it?
And you twist it, you turn it into something bad.
But what do you do with it? Because we've had the Hobbit, we've had the epic, amazing Lord of the Rings, and we've had the bastardized shit version of the Silmarillion. What else is there to adapt? I know there's thousands and thousands of years of history.
Aragorn Rangers movie. You can do that. Or what about the Horsemen of the Rohirrim? Oh, yeah. That's off the top of my head.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think what you could do with it that's gonna be on that level.
Jason.
I mean, the only thing you could.
Oh, Carl Urban's character. Yeah, do an adventure with him and orcs and big wolves and dragons and do it for 2 hours and then go away.
Yeah, yeah. No, I might be being a bit short-sighted.
What was his name?
What's that?
What was Aragorn's name? In the Rainbow?
Strider.
Oh, Strider.
Strider. Yeah.
Bring us just one. I was going to swear then. Solo movie, Strider. Before he lit the pipe and lit up his eyes in the movie. Yeah. Why was he Strider? Why was he mysterious? Oh my God, I'm sure that's somewhere in one of Tolkien's little notepads. But other than that, I'm talking about a global audience. You cannot tell me no one wants to see a Strider movie.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Or
fair.
the Rohirrim, or I don't know what, even an orc anti-hero. I don't know what you could do. You could do a Deadpool style film of what's his name with the main orc. I forget his
Anyway,
we'll call him off the news now. We're drifting off.
We'll call him Orkney for a bit.
Oh, but with two bad knees. Names two bad knees. Oh, anyway, should we wrap that up? Unless you've got any other news.
No, there's no other news for me. It's just a few little bits that I caught whilst orbiting. So there's a few bits that got picked up.
And it's all bad. What can I call it? I can probably just say this is bad hogNEWS. Silly
hog drivel.
That sounds like a bowel movement, doesn't it? Hog
waffle. Hog waffle.
Hog waffle. No, but that's every video I do, to be fair. If Taters was here, he would have done that. But anyway, thank you, Liz, for joining me.
No worries, man. No worries. We've got a busy schedule coming up, so I'm looking forward to that. Yes.
So no, let's not announce anything yet. What we got in
we're not announcing. I'm just saying I'm looking forward to it.
Surprise everyone. And thanks for that, Liz.
No worries, darling.
Adios.
No, darling.